Hi everyone, my name is Rishit. Today is the 29th of December 2025 and I'll be going over my weekly prediction for gold. As usual, I'll be going over the monthly, weekly, and finally the daily charts and then switching to the Excel sheet to cover the last prediction and go over this one in more detail. But before getting into this video, it's important to make the disclaimer that all information here is completely educational. Therefore, it is important to conduct your own analysis, whatever analysis that may be, to ensure that you're comfortable with the risk, reward, and trading style, since you may not be with mine. But with that out of the way, let's get into this video. So monthly charts, we can see, gold has been on a phenomenal rally, actually around, I think it's 164% in this year, or it might be silver. Regardless, extremely strong rally. We can see it's supported by volume, and the RSI, although is heavily overbought, we do see that it is completely confirming this price action here. Gold, and especially in these last few weeks, because of their desire for a safe haven currency and plus the gold discounts in India, has heavily driven up the price of gold. So this is why on the monthly charts we're seeing these incredible gains, and nothing really to worry about here. Moving into the weekly charts, it's kind of a similar thing. We see this candle, this channel here. We did have a breakout, however that was a whipsaw. So regardless, the integrity, we'll keep it as the same. We see the volume sort of rose up and then bell curve down. And this is again not necessarily by virtue of demand or supply for the gold. This is largely because of this is the holiday season, especially this last week has been very light in trading. So that's why we're seeing a decline in volume across the board. However, RSI is spiking up a little bit. We do see that typically when this happens, it does end up going back down. I think around the 78. Around when it hits 78 is when you should be starting to get a little worried. We see that this does tend to happen sort of across the board. So again, we are kind of in that value range and we are starting to go down. However, this is not a one size fits all. And if you do see this starting to approach this sort of 75 line, this is when you need to start being a little more concerned. So that's what we see in the weekly charts. I'm moving into the daily charts. Again, similar thing here. We do have a very sort of confirmed RSI here, nothing insane. This is the thing I was talking about when this gets overbought and we see this massive crash down here. But then that's what we're seeing again. We are starting to get into this overbought region. However, it has mostly corrected on the daily charts. So again, that's a pretty good sign as well. Now moving into the Excel sheet, we will buy gold if it crosses 4,550 and sell if it falls below 4,376 with a target of 2% and a trailing stop loss of 1%. If neither are hit, then we will close on Friday. Then the weekly and the monthly trends are bullish. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.